Hello, and welcome to this segment of Tish on the Couch or On the Couch with Tish. I'm always on the couch, honestly. This is a therapeutic area. We're talking on the couch, we're having conversations, we're having real topics, real conversations, just real energy impacting those in the mental health community, outside of the mental health community, just because we are an underserved community. Today, I have a special guest. My special guest today is special to me also. I met her, I want to say 2019, maybe.
Mhm.
And when I met her, she was just an impactful inspiration to my life. Our relationship grew more and more. The more I was around her, the more I was able to talk to her. And I'm the one that I tell everybody, don't sugarcoat anything for me. Because if you sugarcoat it for me, you're not going to get the best out of me. I'm straightforward, straight to the point. Like they say, shooting from the hip, shooting to the muscle. And when I say she did that to me, she really did that to me. I have my special guest, Miss Sharon Jenkins. She is also a literary midwife, a publicist, an editor, a speaker. Let me tell you, this lady carries so many hats. She's also a veteran. I just really love her spirit. She's, just ministry together. And when you meet someone, you want to do that iron sharpens iron relationship. And when I say this is an iron sharpens iron relationship, she is so amazing. Welcome to On the Couch with Tish, Miss Sharon Jenkins.
Thank you. Thank you. It is my esteemed pleasure to be here with you. You know, I hold much love in my heart for you. So, this is a thrill for me also.
Okay, thank you. And again, thank you for accepting my invitation. Um, I am really in the discernment of God to know who's going to be on the show. I always ask him the question, who do you want me to have on the show? Who do you want me to bring before the people, especially with the people that you have before me, the mental health community? Who do you want me to bring before them? And I love the fact that you popped up because a lot of people have a story to tell. A lot of people
Mhm.
have a story to write. A lot of people feel like if they hold that in, nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to talk about their story. Nobody ever wants to know what really happened behind the scenes in their life. Now, if I go back to me, and I tell the story all the time of how when we met and what you said to me when I wrote my story. Oh my God, it is so funny, but it's so enlightening for people to know how straightforward publicists and editors need to be when you're writing a book. When
Mhm.
you said up there and you said what you told to me, and I tell people this, she told me, I feel like you need to scrap this book and start all over again. That right there said to me, stay right there. Stay with her because she's going to tell you everything that you need to do and how you need to do it to make sure your project is successful. Now, I didn't know about being a self-published author, which when you're self-publishing, you're pushing the book out there for yourself.
Mhm.
I know, I believe Unconditional Love, One Woman's Journey to Spiritual Freedom is only 4 years old. It's a 4-year-old baby.
Mhm.
I at 5, I already said that I'm gonna push it, push it, push it. I'm gonna bring her back to life. I don't think I need to change the book cover, but I know I'm gonna bring her back to life because I have
Mhm.
to because people need to hear that story.
Mhm. It's
So
your second edition.
yes, yes. I
Mhm.
don't think I believe with that I'll probably that's when the journal will kick in. And you already gave me the journal idea, so I'm okay with that. So tell me what actually started you off as being because before then you were a master communicator.
Mhm.
When did the name change to literary midwife? When did you see the shift of change to literary midwife?
Actually, that happened this year. The master communicator encompasses a lot of things, but I wanted to narrow my focus so that I could have space
Okay.
for something else that I've always dreamed of doing. So, a literary midwife, the insinuation is that this person comes alongside you and help you walk through the pregnancy, and at the end of the pregnancy they're in the delivery room with you, coaching you through the actual delivery. And the literary midwife is not pregnant, you are pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, this is your baby. This is your book baby. And what I found is a lot of people were under the sad impression that they could just throw something on paper, turn it over to someone like myself, and magically, voila, they'll turn this into a book. But I wanted people to get a keen understanding that it is a partnership. And I'm thinking I need to say one other thing about the process.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people come because they want to write a biography or they want to write a memoir about a tragic experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's healing. I know it's healing. I knew it was healing in my life when I wrote Beyond the Closet Door, Christ's Rescue from Abuse. I
Mm-hmm.
know how healing that was, but you also have to be in a, I call a Joshua state of mind, strong and courageous in order to do that because you're revisiting the pain places and the pain points in your life that you may or may not have dealt with. So I wanted to continue to imply to my client, my customer, and sometimes my God projects that I'm here to help you, but I'm not God and I'm not the author of your book. I am here to help you, to
Mm-hmm.
walk alongside you, to be your cheerleader when you need me to be your cheerleader, to hold you if you reach a tough spot. But you've got to do the walking and you've got to do the birthing.
Well, what I found out when I was walking by giving deliveries to my book, sometimes we as writers write the way we talk.
Mhm,
And it's hard to separate the thought from the way we talk.
mhm.
And for me, every time when I wrote something, it sounded like the country aspect of how I was talk. I was like, that didn't sound right. I know I have a high school education, I have a bachelor's, but at the time, even with writing the book, I was in the realm of starting my master's. And it was to the point where, okay, I had to rethink and redo everything, and having you to edit, having others to look at what I was writing and how I was talking. It wasn't just you who was saying stuff about the book. I believe I met you through my cousin, Marilyn.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
even with both of you, having you to look at my book, she was like, "You're giving me a headache the way you're talking because you both are educators." I was like, "Why y'all sound like I'm in the sixth grade and I'm having to rewrite this thesis in the sixth grade?"
Oh.
That was so much, and just having that shows a great deal of respect that I have for you both, and the mere fact of taking time out to help people write their story in a voice that people will be able to understand, and not just in our own voice. How does that really um, motivate you as an editor when you're reading someone else's project?
One thing that authors or aspiring authors need to understand is that when you come to someone like me, we are in the marketplace. And you have to decide, am I just writing this story for healing? And that's okay. That is A-OK.
Mm-hmm.
Or am I writing this story to help others heal? And if you're writing the story to help others heal, guess what? You They need to be able to pick up the book and read it. They need to get your message.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some hurdles that we think about that maybe the author hasn't considered. Number one, who are you writing the book to? That's
Mm-hmm.
very important. So I'm writing the book to people who need healing from sexual abuse, or I'm writing the book for people who need healing in the area of depression. Okay, so we know that that's your target audience. But one thing that you have to do is you have to be appealing to that audience when it comes to marketing. They need to know that you are a safe place
Mm-hmm.
and that this is more to you than just selling a book. That you're not going to go to AI and put in a prompt and get AI to write a book about depression. It really comes from your heart intent and your experience and your education in a lot of respects. So we see the total picture. We see the fact that you've got to market this book and you're going to be in a very competitive marketplace. So, how the book looks, how the book reads, all of that is important. And that's why you hire a literary midwife because we're concerned about the end product, whereas you are concerned about birthing. Okay, we want to make sure that the child, the book baby, is being birthed into a safe environment, whereas when all your friends and relatives want to come and see the baby, that the baby is presented in a way that is appealing, that is memorable. You know, people come with expectations. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm in pain and I'm looking for a book on depression or how I can overcome depression, number one, I'm looking for something that is going to attract me. So if your book cover and your sales copy on the back, your back cover, is toe up from the flow up, I'm not going to have faith and confidence in your ability to help me. You have closed the door on an opportunity to assist me, to minister to me, to help me,
Mm-hmm.
because you weren't conscientious enough about the cover and the back copy to say, I'm a professional. And
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes, because people write books because they have experiences. Well, you have to be cognizant of the fact that you're in competition with tons of other books.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, thousands of books are uploaded on Amazon.com. And so when you think about the global bookstore that you're in and how your one book has to get the attention of thousands, and in some cases, if you're doing international, you're going international, millions of people, then the packaging is important as what's in between the
Mm-hmm.
covers, and that's very important. And I know you're laid out on the surgeon's table and you're spilling your guts out, but the moral of the story is simply this: take care of those things as you're walking through the process because they are important. As a minister, when I'm in ministry mode, I recognize the fact that my stuff needs to be line upon line, precept upon precept. But I also recognize that you need to be familiar. I need to have a hook that brings you into the fold. That's what Jesus did. He did
Mm-hmm.
that with the parables that he told. He did that with his actions, the people that he served. He did that. They all of this sent messages. Um, for example, Mary Magdalene, when he approached her, he knew who she was. Okay, but he knew he had what she needed, and so he packaged himself in the manner that would get her attention. The
Mm-hmm.
same thing with us as aspiring writers. You've got to get the attention of the person that you want to read your book or minister to.
Right, right. And while you're sitting here talking, I another thing that I love about our relationship is we can be talking to each other, and all of a sudden, inspirational hit. Things will pop up, and you're like, I needed to talk to you because I was either in a block or something like that. And that's what I love about the Iron Sharpens Iron relationship. But the more you were talking about the birthing and everything about the book, and the midwife being alongside as a form of a guidance, like we are as therapists, we're in the birthing process of your
Yes,
healing. We're
yes,
in the birthing process of you becoming the person that you need to become on your next level, your next journey. We help you to evolve so you can elevate. And with the more you were talking about that, I was thinking about my book, and the mere fact of when I first did it, it was a book on healing for me, but I knew other people needed to read it and be able to see what it was that got me to the point of where I am now. It took me 10 years to get to this place.
hmm,
And in that 10 years, I met people along that journey to help me to see the things the way they are in my life. Before we got on this uh, before we got on this podcast, the first thing I said was, I need to relaunch the book because now people are seeing my story. Now
hmm,
people are really realizing what the story is. And a lot of times we don't pay attention how God is lining things up for us because we're thinking, oh, it's not working. Oh, things are not doing this, things are not doing that. And he's like, keep going.
hmm.
It's almost like, oh Jesus, thank you. Peter on the water. Now we can
Yes,
curse like Peter all day long, but have
yes.
faith like Peter had walking on the water is totally different.
Hmm.
It's totally different. But I can be Peter and I can be a part of the cursing ministry and just let it fall on out. But when it comes to walking on water and God lining you up to be able to walk that thing out so people can say, hey, I know her, or hey, I remember her. Let me go and see what she got going on so I can know exactly what my next level, my next journey is. And it may not be writing a full book, it could be writing a children's book, writing a novel. Writing poetry, or even just creating journals or something to that extent, but we all have something inside of us that needs to be told. And I say that all the time. We all have a story
Hmm.
that needs to be told, like only we can tell it. But we also have to have a literary midwife to make sure the language that we're talking is understood.
You're not speaking Japanese to
Right. Because
an
y'all,
American audience who cannot comprehend. And one of the things that I love about your book is you are so transparent in your book about your journey. There are people out there who want to tell a story, but they want to dress the story up like it's going to a Sunday to meeting
no.
uh, kind of a place. But the truth of the matter is, God operates in truth.
Mm-hmm.
He has given us the ability to share truth. And
Mm-hmm.
when you don't, how can I say it? When you dress up something and it becomes what it is not, it's not going to have the full effect, the intent, the mission, the vision of your book. It loses itself in your pretense. And so I've had authors come to me and just say, okay, I need a ghostwriter. And they tell me the theme of the book. But the moral of the story is they want me to do like we did in high school. You know how you used to hire people to write your papers?
Oh, yeah.
Do that. You could hire people, but the tone of that paper is in that person's voice, not in the voice of the person who hired you. And
Mhm.
so we have to be very careful. If you don't think that your story about healing is going to heal others, I'm talking about the truth, because I've sat in ministers' offices who are quote unquote counselors, and I'll tell them about some of the pain points in my life. And the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, well, we all have that stuff happening to us. You ain't special. Wait a minute. The truth of the matter is, your journey is special. Don't try to mimic or copy somebody else's because it's more popular.
Mhm.
Tell your truth.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
heard. There are people out there who are hurting, who are in a devastating place. And the only thing, the key that unlocks the door to a better life, a better quality life for them, is your story, your
Mhm.
true, unadulterated story. And so that's why it's very important, if you're writing a book to sell books, yes, that's good. Okay, do it. But tell the truth.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. And for me, on the episode that I had on the 13th, talking to a gentleman who's out here in the community from the male aspect of mental health, and I was telling him, my book has so many sections in there that I love, because it talks about the layers of life, and the gatekeeper, groundskeeper. I call God the groundskeeper because he was constantly tilling my heart, because I kept saying the same thing over and over again. God, if you can change the hardened heart of a king, you can change the hardened heart of this person right here who has seen life me for majority of my life. Now that I have a voice that was so silent and now I'm talking about it, I need to expose everything that was a part of it. And there were so many people that stopped talking to me because I exposed things that they didn't want to expose. Well, that wasn't for you. That was for my healing. So even with that, I was telling the gentleman, one of my favorite segments in the book, the section is addicted to an addiction. And he was like, huh? I said, yeah. A lot of people think that addiction comes in the compaction of drugs, gambling, sex, lying, all this other stuff. But for me, my addiction was, I was addicted to the pain somebody was imposing on me because
Mhm.
that's all I knew. So
Mhm.
it became an addiction to where I started hoarding things to capture the pain. And when I mean hoarding things to capture them, I became so addicted to collecting jars with lids on it because I thought those jars could capture the pain that I was holding so deep down inside. And then I can go and decorate the jars or decorate the vases and decorate those things to make that pain look so pretty. But when you take the lid off of it, it was like, oh my God, I really went through that stuff. Oh my goodness, yeah, I was just like, oh my God moments. But they were oh my God moments for healing. It was like you needed to be healed from the fact that you were molested. You needed to be healed from the fact that you were raped. You needed to be healed from the fact that you went through, domestic abuse, both physically, mentally, emotionally, from people who thought that that's the type of love that you required. That's the type of love that you desire. Seeing your parents, growing up and seeing other relatives and seeing people out here and, all these things you kept soaking up like a sponge. So when God came and started squeezing that sponge and draining it out, and it was so painful, I was like, give it back. I'm addicted to it. Give it back. That that's the type of stuff that we as authors and having a literary midwife comes in and it's like, okay, I'm gonna pat your head with this sponge, because this birth is not going to be easy. But the sponge is different. The sponge is, I'm cooling you off. I'm helping you to expose and to deliver this baby. It's not going to be easy, but I'm here to help in the delivery process so you can let go of all this stuff.
Absolutely. One of the things that keeps popping up in my mind as you talk is the fact that sometimes we seek the professional help that we need based on what's in our pocketbook. For
Mm.
example, we put the responsibility on a ministry counselor to help us unpack a bunch of stuff. I'm talking
Mhm.
about from childhood into now. Now, I'm not saying, no, this is not a negative. Ministry counselors can deal with the spiritual aspect of what's ill or what's a disease in your life. But when it comes to really unpacking stuff and really dealing with the ites in your lands, those things that happen from childhood up until now that keep repeating themselves, you need a professional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the same thing with writing a book. If you are serious and your book has a mission, you just don't want to go to someone who cookie cuts the experience. We feel we have this false bravado when we set out to write a book. Oh, I did well in English class, so I'm going to do well in writing this book. Or we feel that we have the ability because we've been writing most of our lives in school. We fill out employment forms, we do it on the job, you name it. We write all the time, but it's about writing well and getting your message across. If you are really trying to make a difference in somebody's life based on your healing experience, you've got to be able to speak the language. So
Mhm.
you need a professional to help you do that. We pay thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to school and to get a degree that only prepares you to understand theory, and application is lacking. It's
Mhm.
not until you get into the actual job market that you get a genuine experience and you know what is required of you. Well,
Mhm.
when you hire or when you have people that come alongside you who understand the industry, just like being a therapist, just like in the mental health industry, when you go to a professional, you get good results because that person is trained.
Mhm.
And so don't try to do a book on the cheap because you're going to get cheap results. You might have this awesome network and everybody and their mama will go out and buy the book. But that's your warm hot audience. When you want to sell your book beyond, or if you are a minister and you are a service oriented person and you want your book to reach beyond that audience, then you've got to have a great product to do so.
Yeah.
So you need a professional.
You do. You do. And I'm glad you said that because when you started talking about the hiring of a professional, the first thing came to my mind was when I was growing through my process. And I was like, why would I pay somebody that much money to do that? But here I am in a professional industry, and it's like, why would I not have paid somebody to do that? So we end up using that, and the first thing came to my mind was a form of prostitution. We want to get everything for the cheap, and thinking that it's going to change when you're going to continually be in that same roller coaster ride because you don't want to pay to be changed. You don't want to pay to have somebody see your book in the right arena. You're okay with, I'd rather pay $9.99 instead of $19.99, or I'd rather pay $20 than to pay $40. There is a difference in the amount that you pay for. Like for me, in my industry, I was even told the price that I charge individuals for sessions is way below the grade of what a person should be charged, especially I'm targeting the audience that's willing to pay the bare minimum, but they want the full effect. They're willing to pay their bare minimum, but they want me to give them everything that I have and be
So
okay with that.
let me say this. When people do that, they literally rape the expert. They pull out everything that that person has to offer. And,
Mm-hmm.
and they forget that that person, especially if they're anointed and appointed to do that thing,
Mm-hmm.
they literally go in and pull out everything of value that that person has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, you are robbing, you are raping that person. The Bible says simply, a workman is worthy of their hire.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a university, or for me, writing conferences, and you sit under experienced writers or publishers or editors, if you put money in investing into your craft, you are worth the industry standard. And unfortunately, I don't want anybody sending you any letters.
No, I want it. It's
Okay.
unapologetic. This is
o-
unapologetic, and that's how I am. Give it to
Okay.
raw,
So we're going
all
to
raw.
say this. Unfortunately, people sometimes who look like us don't value our journey, a preparation. And so it's always, how can I get a discount? And because we love people, especially people in your profession, we will make the sacrifice. But it gets to a point where we have nothing left to give.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're mad because they get to the end of their journey and we have nothing left to give. They're not satisfied with the end result.
Right.
When you make an investment in a professional, whether it be a mental health professional or a literary midwife, you are investing in your future.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you sow to the industry standard in that particular person's life? Because they're human just like you, they have needs just like you. Okay. If you think that that person, the quality of the service that they provide is below what you expect a professional to be, then let me tell you something. You need to go hire that person who you feel is going to give you the best result. So, in essence, what I'm saying is this: recognize. Recognize where you want to end up at, not just in regards to writing a book, but recognize in regards to a mental health professional the work that you want them to assist you in doing, and be willing to pay for it. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because it increases the quality of your life. There are many times that I wanted to render better service to people. But guess what? My hands were tied because they had not made the investment
Mm-hmm.
in the journey. They didn't make the investment in the journey. And therefore, I couldn't give them the results that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I didn't want to, not because I didn't have the capacity to, but they didn't make the appropriate investment
Right.
in their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine going to a hospital about to have a baby, and you know that the bill is going to be maybe $10,000. And you come to the hospital staff and you say, well, I only have five, but I still need to have this baby. And you expect them to be compassionate and take your $5 and deliver that baby. Then you get mad when the baby's born and unfortunately needs oxygen or whatever because you only paid $5. How in
Mm-hmm.
the world can they incur the cost of taking care of this baby who has a special need? In essence, what I'm saying, pay the price so you can get the results that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just financially, pay the price, get the education, get the
Mm-hmm.
information, hire the expert that you need in order to get where you want to be. God has appropriated the resource. Now you need to go out and get it.
Right, right. And if he appropriated the resource, he's going to make sure when you go to get it, it's going to be there. And I have to get on that topic. It's totally a mindset. We value what we want to value, and we de-appreciate things that we de-appreciate. Just like when we drive off the car, or drive off the lot with a car, we know that that car has the value has depreciated automatically. But in our mindsets, to pay for something that we know we need, we know will be of value, because our mindset is saying, why would I pay $10,000 to give birth to a baby when I can pay $5 and take that $9,995 somewhere else that shows no value for me? And that's the whole mindset about a lot of things. And that's what I'm finding out too when it comes to therapy. It's not sad, but it is the bare truth that our counterparts, the Caucasian culture, will pay whatever it takes to get their healing, to pay whatever it takes, even if though they know that they got to keep going back over and over again, they're willing to do that. But when it comes to our underserved community, again, we've been told for years, we'll go and buy a purse, we'll go and buy shoes, we'll go and buy clothes, we'll go and buy all this other stuff, and I call it materialistic healing, rather than getting true healing, the healing that God wants us to have. Because even, oh Jesus, even with the woman, with the widow with the mite, that was all she had. But God saw her heart in it, and he blessed her. Just the same as who's that? Elijah with the oil, the widow with the
The
oil.
widow, yes.
That was all she had to save her sons. But a lot of times we don't take the value in, I need a midwife. I need a literary midwife. So let me do what I got to do to make sure my story is told. I need to go and see a therapist so I can get all this stuff that's blocking me from being where I need to be in life. I need to be able to pay for that. I can hold off on Starbucks for a minute. I can find out how Starbucks made this and do it for myself. Or I don't have to go to McDonald's, or I don't have to go to This Is It, and I don't have to go to, to the Triple J's for the big beef barbecues, all the other stuff.
Ah,
I can go there and celebrate my accomplishments of me going to the midwife and me going to, the therapist to get my healing. But I don't want to do that right now, because I need to self-service myself before I a self-service to self-sabotage is what it
so,
is.
oh, what a key concept that you're addressing now. I don't want it to come off that, as a literary midwife, I'm all about the money. But
No.
I can tell you, after years of not being all about the money, there have been periods of time where I'm like, well, why am I doing this? Is this not a business? Is it not a business? And am I not held accountable to God for running this business in a manner that glorifies Him? And I think now that we're on this street, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Years ago, I shared with my white counterpart. They asked me because I was astonished at the amount of money that they charged for editing. And I said, really? You charge this much? And they sat me down and explained to me why. And they told me that I was not charging enough, like we talked about. So that's why this is a point of discussion. But I think we need to shift our values.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes, looking nice is important. I like to look nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting your hair done, and for the fellas, getting that haircut you desire and shave, whatever. I'm all for that. But count the cost when you start on a journey, be it a mental health recovery journey or whether you're writing a book about your journey. Be prepared to pay the cost. And let me and I need to give an example. I just spent the last 4 days attending classes on filmmaking. Why? Because I want to take my second book in the fiction book series and turn it into a film. Now, I knew at the end of these classes that they're going to want you to buy packages to continue to work with them. And I'm happy now because I used to have a mindset cheap is the best. Let me get all I can for free and then I'll take it from there. Look, I was guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have come to the understanding. I appreciate people who charge for their excellence, to share their excellence with me. And the reason why I learned to appreciate them is because of my experience working with other people. Years, years, these people have been in the industry and they've made connections and networked and all that wonderful kind of stuff. They've spent not chump change, they've spent like millions of dollars doing movies and films. Who am I to come to them? Don't even know them from Adam or Eve, and they don't know me from Adam or Eve, but I expect them to have the expectancy for them to give me something for their years of experience. It
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't work that
Mm-mm.
way.
Mm-mm.
So, what I've learned to do is to vet. I know how I like to learn, and I know that it's going to cost me to accomplish what I need to accomplish, to vet that individual and their program. And if I feel that it's going to move me forward in my purpose or my ministry, then I will set the money aside to pay for it
Mm-hmm.
because it's going to take me to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a process. I can't sit here and say I can't sit here and say that I showed up like that.
Yeah.
But being an entrepreneur, being someone who loves to serve people, I had to come to the realization that in order to serve people, I needed to put value on what I was doing for others. There are people who you can never satisfy because their expectancy is based on how you perform when it should be on how they perform, how much they've invested into the process, because they want to profit from the results. The same thing with therapy. Matisha, let me tell you something. You are a valuable asset. There are women now that are tore up from the floor up, unfortunately, because America had said to the African American Black woman, we still see you back on the plantation, in the back, in the shanties. When we know better, you and I know better as African American women, that we are far better than that. We sat upon the thrones in our African continent and ruled and reigned. And God allowed us and trained us up to be queens and princesses over nations.
Mm-hmm.
We understand who we are, but we just had a hit, a punch, boom,
Mm-hmm.
to the reality of where we are in this great nation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they need your help,
Yes.
because our crown got knocked a little bit to the left side, okay? And we need help from people like you to straighten our crown back up and
Mm-hmm.
to move forward on what God originally ordained us to do and to be. Not, how can I say it? That's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of wisdom. So
Yes.
I use that example, Matisha, simply because I want people to understand we want to do great things in the earth, but often we don't want to pay the cost. We want to acquire great wealth. We want to be greatly recognized. And we are comfortable in emulating that false narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Fake it until you make it. When in essence, it's going to take sweat equity in order to get there. For years, I struggled with imposter syndrome. Years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It didn't, it until I was honest with myself and pulled the blinders off and had the courage to look in the mirror to see who I truly am, who God ordained me to be. Okay. Until I found the courage to seek the help that I needed in order to do that, I couldn't do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
This DIY stuff is a mess
Oh, yeah, it is.
because people think YouTube will tell them how to do everything. But there are certain things that God has commissioned experts to do. And I would encourage your listeners to seek the help that they need so that they could have the quality of life that God ordained for them to have. We speak about the abundance of God. I mean, you can't be on Instagram 5 minutes without somebody telling you you're gonna overcome, or money's coming your way. Get ready.
Yes.
You got keys in your hand. The doors are gonna open for you. I'm not saying that that person is selling you a false narrative. But what
Mm-hmm.
I am saying, if you have not done the work to walk in the fullness of that abundance, if you get it just like the lottery winners do, when they
Mm-hmm.
get wealth and they're not prepared for it, then guess what? They won't keep it long. The same thing with if you do something, you read a book, and that's good. Read books.
Mm-hmm.
Learn
Exactly.
midwife is saying read books. But if you need healing, seek a professional to do just that,
Mm-hmm.
because your life is on the line.
Yeah.
Faking it to make it. I had to pull myself out of the scheme of things in order to honestly look at who I am and get the help to unpackage all of that crap, those false narratives that attempted to define who I was. I had to do the work,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still doing the work.
Yeah.
But I celebrate people like you, Matisha, and I celebrate you because you are willing to get in the trenches to help people find that abundant quality of life that God has for them. And I'm talking about abundance mentally,
Mm-hmm.
that resilience that we have, that it would be appropriated in the right way so that we can get the maximum benefit out of that experience. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it costs something
Oh
in
yeah.
order to do that. But the cost that you would pay to put bandages on your soul versus doing the work to be whole, you can't, they don't equate. They don't equal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather, in giving honor to you and your profession, I would rather invest the money in paying for an exceptional professional to help me walk my way through the landmines that mental health. I mean, all kinds of stuff can trigger you. You understand where I'm coming from? I'm
Mm-hmm.
so happy that there are mental health professionals that who walk me through the landmines
Yeah.
to the other side. So I know we talked about a lot of things, but I want to encourage people to get the mental health help that they need because God has preordained these people to help you get to the other side. Stop playing with your mind. Stop playing with your soul. Stop playing with telling your story. Get the help you need.
Yeah, exactly. And the more you were talking about that, God always downloading stuff in my spirit when it comes to branding, why he can't and the things that see it. So I'm gonna stand up so you can see this shirt that I got on because it's meant for this location. This whole conversation is to tell them I'm here. That's what the shirt says. Tell them I'm here. And it's telling the people that the unapologetic therapist is here. And I'm going to unapologetically go in and help you walk across those landmines and know where the triggers are and the explosion and the everything that's going to happen. But you said something that was so profound. We as people deal with schemas. And in a therapist arena, a schema is we magnetize things that are not even there, just so we cannot focus on wanting to truly get the healing that we deserve. Because again, we want to hold on to those addictions. We want to hold on to those things that we deem that are necessary for us to keep going in life when in all actuality they're making us stagnant in life. I thank you for honoring just even me as well as those in this industry. I'm not going to say that every therapist is a good therapist,
Oh no.
but there are those who are out there that are like me that really want to see you healed. We really are the Lukes of discipleship. We really are the people. I don't know how that happened. How I end up getting that call. Um, we really are those who need to be in the forefront of what needs to happen here in the therapy in therapy. We really are the people who those who are out there that needs the healing needs to be seen, just the same as you being a literary midwife. Having you here and having you in the trenches with us, for somebody to be able to write their book, tell their story, write about things that need to be seen by individuals to help them in their healing journey is a great thing. But all too often we're hit with those, and I'm gonna use this as an example. Nowadays insurance is almost like free. I end up running into individuals, and I mean no harm by this, but I'm being very unapologetic about it. rather than pay for the service, they rather go and run up and to the hospitals to use the stuff for their deductible so they don't have to pay out of pocket
Mm.
just to see a therapist. It becomes free. So now I have all these sessions for free that I can deal with on a continued, and I'm like, so you rather go to the hospital and claim that something is wrong with you so your deductible can be paid for and all of this can be paid for just so you don't have to pay for a therapy session? How fair is that? So people are out here who needs, and I'm focusing on those who really need to see us. Thank you to those who are willing to make that investment. Thank you to those who are willing to take the necessary steps to invest in your life changing moment with a therapist, with a literary coach, with people who you're willing to see the value in what we present. Thank you for doing that. Now, to those who don't see the value, I pray that you will someday see the value, because if you're also an entrepreneur and you're doing this to other entrepreneurs,
Ooh.
what sense does that make?
Mm.
We're entrepreneurs, you're an entrepreneur, but you rather for somebody else to pay for your service, but you don't want to pay for ours. That is not good. And you want God to bless your business? He's not. He's gonna bless you, but not what, what you want him to bless you. He gonna bless you. Believe me, he gonna bless you. I love the story of the three men with the mites, the talents, where he gave 1, 2, and 3. That one that hid that talent, come on now, don't do that to us. Be an investor, just like Miss Jenkins said. Miss Sharon, I love that you said that. Be an investor in your own future, because that's what's important. Be an investor.
You know, British, let me tell you uh, what story popped up in my head. Remember the commander who had leprosy,
Mm-hmm.
and his slave, the slave girl, told him to go to the prophet for his healing, and he went to the prophet, and the prophet didn't tell him to do what he thought he should tell him. Matter of fact, he told him to go into a murky body of water and
Mm.
dip 7 times. And he didn't want to do it because he was this commander, this great man. Okay. His ego got in the way of his healing. But one of his servants talked to him and told him if he had asked you to do A, B, or C, D, you would have done it without hesitation. And that pricked his soul. And he went to the body of water and did exactly what the prophet told him to do. And
Mm-hmm.
he was healed. Sometimes our expectancy gets in the way of us walking in the fullness of what God has for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we have to be cognizant of that. And in this era where we're naming and claiming things or we're manifesting things, we need to make sure we check with God and the Holy Spirit, because that's the role of the Holy Spirit. We need
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that we check with them, that what we think or what we feel or what we're doing is his plan for us. And
Right.
once we follow his plan to the letter, we can expect kingdom results. But we
Mm-hmm.
got to get ego out of the way. We got to get pride out of the way. We got to get that lack mentality out of the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And what compels us to find the courage to do what we perceive impossible is our relationship with a loving God.
Yeah.
Okay. If you and I, we're givers and we want to help everybody, I'm not going to lie. We want to help everybody. I don't even like the negotiation process, but what God taught me in my not doing what a true business person does, He taught me that I'm not taking care of me, nor am I taking care of my home,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can continue to do the things that He's called me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sharing this with your viewers. It's a win-win situation when you invest in kingdom purpose and kingdom people, because God recognizes your obedience.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always an exponential blessing with your obedience, with
Mm-hmm.
your honoring those things that God honors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the beauty of that is you can expect God to show up. Okay. When you honor the things that God honors, God honored the prophet, He
Mm-hmm.
equipped him to speak a life changing word into that commander's life. And it was the choice of the commander to do what the prophet said or not to do what the prophet said. The responsibility falls on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's the truth of the matter. So that's why we're no longer the master communicator. We are the literary midwife, because we are called alongside, and we will render advice based on our professional expertise and education. And
Mm-hmm.
you decide whether or not you follow it. But we promise you, we will give you our best.
So I know on the 23rd of November, I'm going
Yes,
to be a part of an event that you have going on for the 50 plus when it
yes,
comes to dating.
yes.
And the topic for me, which was so profound, love, is the topic that you gave me. I'm so excited about this. Tell my viewers about this event and where can they get the information? How can they get in touch with you, being that they want to be a part of this? Because I'm going to be blasting this until when I see you on the 23rd,
Oh,
which is next Saturday. I tell them how to find more information about this that you're doing.
okay. Well, let me tell you what the initiative is. We, I decided that in 2025, I'm going to have fun. I love helping people. And I looked at some of the statistics for people 50 plus who are dating. And I think we lack some information because we done got caught up in this sex it up community. And we lack some information. We lack how to have a genuine experience, love experience with each other. So when there's a lack of information, I like getting in the trenches and sharing, finding the experts to equip you to date. So in 2025, it won't be because you won't be informed, because this initiative is to inform, educate, and empower you to make a conscientious decision about how you're going to posture yourself to date in 2025 and beyond, being 50 plus. So the first session was with our matchmaker, Jennifer Hayes. And this session coming up on the 23rd, which is also my birthday celebration, by the way. Okay. This session is with a panel of experts who are going to talk to you about mental health. That's why you're coming, Martisha. We're going to talk to you about, how to present yourself in a way to prevent those folks who are pretending,
Mhm.
to be who they are not, how to make an informed decision about how you're going to do dating in the new year. So it's a new you, it's a new year, and you're looking for a new kind of love. So you can go to JTV1 Studios, our Instagram account, and find the flyer, or you can reach out to me, Sharon, at jtv1studios.com, and I'll be glad to send you the information. But this is a movement, Morticia, because we want people to get the love that they long for. Okay?
Yeah.
We don't want you to get caught up in this sexing it up culture. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
I don't have nothing to lose sexing it up culture. We want you to be genuinely equipped to find the love that you've either lost or that you've been looking for in 2025.
Well, there's still a lot to lose in this sexing it up culture, because then you're gonna need a therapist to try and bring you back to life, because
Ah,
you're gonna end up doing one of those numbers and wearing orange or white because you done sex it up so much. And I tell people all the time, I love the color orange, I love the color white, but I don't want to wear them on a permanent basis. I
hmm.
love my social security number, my driver's license, and my birthday. Those are the only 3 days that I love about me. I don't need the 456 TDC number or the 8910 spin number to help me with life. So again,
Ah,
I want to thank you so much. This has been amazing. I There will be a part two.
oh,
Yeah, there will be a part two, and we're going to do the part two based off of the event that you have going on the 23rd. I want to get more into that, especially being a literary midwife. There's some love novels that are out there, some love novelists that are out there, and they need to find out where you are and how to get with you. So again, tell us, how can we reach out to you again? May it be even for this event or just you in general to be able to write a book?
well, I'm on all the major platforms, but it's so easy to reach out to me to talk to me about writing a book or maybe revamping a book project that you've had in the past. It's Sharon at the literary midwife unlimited.com.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
And anyway, you can do the JTV1. And just briefly, JTV1 Studios is fairly new. We've been in business since September. It's a team of media professionals who have come together to render a comprehensive, inspirational, empowering service to you. So, from press releases, from movies, from television shows, from books, from all of those things, from publishing, from editing, from all of those things, we bring a wealth of experience to you. And so that's where I was tasked with coming up with a television show. And so this event is actually the taping for our television channel, which
okay.
we launched in February.
Oh, so I get my 5 seconds of fame, really 5 minutes
Oh,
maybe
oh no,
of
you're
fame.
gonna get a
Just
little bit. Look, you're gonna get a little bit more than that.
hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So it has been so awesome being on here with you. Like I said, there will be a part two because we have to get more in detail. Because again, I want to give the people what they really need, not just what they want, but what they really need. And again, you're hearing it here first from me, the unapologetic therapist Morticia. I will be on the panel on the 23rd of November, and I will be talking about mental health and the capacity of love, because unconditional love is what I stand by. And getting people to understand what unconditional love truly is, I had to learn myself that every time when a guy said hi to me, it wasn't that he was asking to marry me. He was just Hello. So
And
that was
we wasn't always the one.
right.
Oh,
I
he's
had
into me. I get you.
right. I had to learn those triggers, especially after being divorced. That was something for me. But you can also find me on all social media platforms. This podcast airs every Wednesday from 7 to 8. Sometimes they go a little longer. Just be excited about what we're giving here. We're doing things unapologetically and having people to understand that life should be very unapologetic. We're so limited in what we do in life nowadays, and it's not fair to the people who need to see us. So you can find me on all social media platforms. We are hosting 2 events. We host an event in December, December 13th through the 15th, which is called our Tonight is the Night Mental Health Symposium. I'm so in love with this symposium because that Saturday we're doing an event, an activity with our guests, and it's called Painting Our Trauma on a Canvas.
Ooh.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. And then that Saturday night we're dressing to impress. It's a gala that Saturday night, and then that Sunday we come back for a Q&A for all of those who are going to be on the panel. And I would love to have you on the panel if you're available on the 15th of December.
Oh,
Um,
good.
if not, then just give us information. I'll get more in detail with you on things that is
Mhm.
needed, especially about being a literary midwife. There's some things that God has going on with this symposium. And then also February being Love Month. February 22nd and 23rd, we're doing a basketball tournament fundraiser, which is called For the Love of Basketball and
Ooh.
Mental Health. God is having me doing godly things that has not been done before. You see all these basketball tournaments, but when we're talking about bringing in the community of mental health and mental health awareness, you don't see those things. You
Mm-mm.
see all these conferences, these men and women conferences. Well, this symposium is for everybody. It's for veterans, LGBTQ plus community, men, women. It's for everybody. Like God said, lottie dottie and everybody. My pastor's wife used to say this, Dr. Pam Randolph used to always say, Lottie Dottie and everybody. So that's what it's for. It's for everyone. So you can come and get the exposure and the information that you need to be able to live your best life unapologetically. So
Wow.
Miss Sharon, I do, and we have some things that are coming up. I can't talk about them right now because God is working on them. Just be prepared to put your walking shoes on. Is all I gotta say. There's 2 things you're gonna need to be prepared to put your walking shoes on for.
Okay, that
Yeah, yeah,
sounds
yeah. It's happening. When I say God, I told God yes. It's like I laid back and did the Nestle commercial. Yes, go ahead and do it. I'll be your person. I'll be your I'll be your footsteps. So I look forward to seeing you on the 23rd. And I'm so excited about the things that God is doing or already in preparation, has already done. You're just walking in it.
amen.
I'm excited to see those things and more blessings to you as a literary midwife because, I mean, your hands are put to the fire when it comes to this. And I love how you allowing God to expose you
Amen.
in
Amen.
his way.
To God be the glory. And one other thing, if we have just a minute,
Mm-hmm.
we're actually going to do a summit, a dating summit for people 50 plus,
Okay.
that Valentine's Day week from the 10th through the 15th. And on the 13th, we're going to do a mock dating game for people 50 plus. We're going to have some fun, some real fun. Now, we're not a dating service, but we do fun things.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. You have to. Yeah, dating should be fun. It should not be all fluff and all of that stuff. But yeah, I look forward to it all. I thank you for joining me on this day. Like I said, we will have a part 2. I'm excited for the things that God has in store for us both. And I will see you soon.
Love you.
Love you soon.
Love y'all.